A very good morning to all of you. Here I'm Suman Saxena back with lecture number 17 of operating system, that is the basic segmentation technique in operating system for non-contiguous allocation of memory. So in today's lecture we are going to understand that what is segmentation and how it is executed, how it is implemented, how it is different from the paging technique that we have seen in non-contiguous allocation. So let us start with this topic and understand what is it. So these are the objectives today. We are going to see simple and basic segmentation. What is it? Then need of segmentation. Why do we need to have segmentation? What is the primary use? How we can overcome some of the problems that are faced in paging, and then we need to understand the execution of this segmentation. So these are the three learning objectives of today's lecture. We are going to see these three things today. Now, this is what we call is a segmentation. So let us now understand what exactly segmentation is and what does it mean. Right. Now, see, the concept of segmentation, basically the segmentation part which we do in operating system is actually very similar to the paging technique that we have seen in the previous lectures. Right. In the previous lecture, I told you the one of the technique of memory management which is used, and it is called paging part, where we divide both the memories, the main memory and the secondary memory, into equal size of partitions, and in secondary memory we call these partitions as page, and in the primary memory we call them frames. And what happens is, whenever we want to execute something, what do? The process which we want to execute is also broken down into some of the partitions which have the size equal to the pages, right? What do we do then? We just load these processes, the parts of the processes inside the pages, and as and when we want to execute those pages, what do? When the time comes, we just pick those pages from the secondary memory and we are going to load it into the frames of the main memory so as to execute them. Now, in such kind of process, it is not possible for the operating system to handle it solely. So in these case, exactly what happens is, operating system always takes use of some data structures like page table, frame table. So there are not many data structures which are used for the processes, and in such a way only it is possible to execute the processes. So that was paging, and we have seen that it always helps us out in coming over with the external fragmentation part that we have seen. So it is a solution part for the external fragmentation, but still internal fragmentation still remains the problem in the paging technique. So now, when we talk about segmentation, it is not very different from the paging part of the memory management that we have seen. Here, what happens is, see, the segmentation, basically, the technique basically divides the user program. Okay, what is the user program? A user program can be anything. Like, it could be class, it could be sub module. Like, see here, segments. What could be a user program? The main program. It is having any kind of subprogram, any kind of class procedure, the functions used in it, any kind of object module, any kind of block, structure, stack, symbol table, all these are user programs. So here what happens is that your segmentation technique divides the user program and the data which are associated with the program into number of segments, right? Now, there is a difference between paging and segmentation, that in paging each page has an equivalent fixed size, where segments are of variable size. I told you this thing, that in paging scheme what happens is, as I have told you, that see, in paging what I have to do is, when you have a process which you want to execute, you need to divide that process into equal, equal partitioned or fixed size partition as of the page. Like page, if the pages are partitioned into 2 bytes, then your process has to be, divided into sub processes of 2 bytes, and they should be of fixed nature. So this is the case with the processes. But here, when we talk about segmentation, this is actually the major difference, that your segments, the user programs, will not be of fixed size, they will be of variable size, right? This is the major advantage of segmentation. You don't have to divide it into equal size partition. Okay, so here the segmentation actually maps to the user's view onto the actual physical memory. Now, we are going to discuss here further in brief the workflow of the segmentation. And further, to understand segmentation easily, we are going to discuss an example on segmentation, and we'll wind up this topic with its advantages and disadvantages, together with the main difference points with the paging scheme. Okay. Now understand what is segmentation in OS. Okay. So precisely speaking, it is just a memory management scheme where the user's view is plotted onto the physical memory. So in segmentation, the user program is divided into the number of segments, where each segment is of variable size. Obviously, why it is variable size? Because what we are doing is we are dividing the user program. Like we are dividing various functions. Like suppose one function is very long, it may take 5 MB. The other function is very small, it may take 1 MB. So here we are not worried about the size. We are worried about the whole segment that can come, or whole process that can come in a one go. So that could be variable in nature. So this is a point, that here we are dividing with the number of segments which can be of variable size. Now, the segmentation can appear to you as a dynamic partitioning. The where divided segments are of basically variable size. So these segments need not be placed in contiguous memory. So the segmentation does not create internal fragmentation, but it may create external fragmentation. So here it is just the opposite. We have seen that in paging there is no internal segmentation. It overcomes this problem. But external fragmentation, the external fragmentation is not there, but internal fragmentation is there. But here, when we talk about the segmentation, does not create any internal fragmentation, but there is a possibility that it can create external fragmentation. Now, again, one important thing that here exists in segmentation is that, see, the segments that in which we are breaking down our whole program, whole user program, it is not required to place them in contiguous memory. We don't require it to place in the contiguous memory locations. They can be in non-contiguous memory location, and that is the beauty of non-contiguous allocation, because segmentation is considered to be the scheme of non-contiguous allocation. So obviously, in non-contiguous allocation, what happens is the segments, or the whatever the programs, whichever you are going to store inside the memory, they need not to be stored in the contiguous fashion. They can be in a linked manner. They can be stored anywhere, wherever we want, right? So from the user's view, a program has segments such as the main method with a set of some objects. There could be some methods, there are arrays, there are procedures, there could be some global variables, templates, etc. Right? Now these modules or data elements are actually the segments to which user refers by its name, without concerning at what address these modules or elements are stored in the memory. So neither the user is worried about in which sequence the modules or data elements are stored in the memory, nor the operating system. So obviously, the we are because we are recognizing our user programs with the help of their names. So we don't need to know the addresses or the sequence in which they are stored in the memory. We are not concerned about that. If we want to execute some program, we will call it by the name. So wherever it is stored in the memory, it should get executed from there only. So this is a point with the with the segmentation part, right? Now, Now see, each segment of the user program is of variable length, right? As I have told you, that the segments are never the fixed nature modules. They are of variable size, depending on the size of the user program in which you are breaking it down. So they are of variable length, and actually the length of the segment is so here you understand uh, the example of the segmentation need. Why do we need to have segmentation? Now, when we talk about a compiler has many tables that are built up as the compilation proceeds. So possibly it includes the source text that is being saved for the printing list on batch systems. Second, it consists of the symbol table, a data structure where the name and the attributes of the variables or some kind of symbols are stored in it. Third, it has got the table which contains integer or the floating point constants which are used. Fourth one is the parse tree, the syntactic analysis of the program. Fifth one is the stack which is used for procedure calls within the compiler. So these are few of the things that are there in the compiler. So here, if you see, this is a one-dimensional address space with growing tables. One table may bump into another. So here you see what we have done. We have taken a single address space, and here uh, we have stored all the modules of the compiler, like the parse tree we have taken up, the call stack we have taken up, the constant tables, the source stack, the symbol table, whatever it is, we have stored in this. So here you can see there are different sizes of these segments. Like source text is very less, constant table is much better than that. Then parse tree and symbol table are of almost equal size. They are all variable in nature, right? Now here you can see the address allocation. This is the address space which is allocated to parse tree. Now this space is used by the parse tree, and here you see the white line, the white space. This is basically the deallocated memory, the free virtual space, right? So here you can see this is what is happening. Now here you see the source text and the symbol table. They have been bumped together. They have been attached just together. So here you just see that if you see this thing, that see the segment table, here the symbol table is taking 20K of memory, right? This is segment 0. Let us say we have done the segmentation of all these processes in the previous slide that I have shown you. These are the segments that I am taking. Now let us do the segmentation of all these things. Now after doing the segmentation, what will happen? See, this is the segmentation solution. This is your symbol table. This is segment 0 of 20K. Then for the source code, we have made it segment 1 of 12K. Then there are some constant of segment 2. Then segment 3 is the parse tree of 16K. Then we have segment 4 of 12K. This is the call stack, right? So here you see we have made total 5 segments in the segmentation part for a compiler process, and here you see that these tables are actually allowed to to grow or to compact or to shrink independently, right? So depending. the call stack, there could be more values in it. If it is requiring more value, then the call stack can grow in size. And if the values are less, like see in symbol table, if the values are less, that can be compacted in fact, right? So this is how we do segmentation here. So now see what is the dynamics of the simple segmentation. Now, as I told you that each program is subdivided into blocks of non-equal size, which is called segment, right? Now, when a process gets loaded into the memory or the main memory, it is very different. Its different segments can be located anywhere, as I've told you, because it is a non-contiguous memory allocation. So the segments will be loaded in various memory locations, and each segment is fully packed with instructions and data, right? There is no internal fragmentation. So we have to recall this thing, that no internal segmentation will occur here. But there is external fragmentation problem which always occurs inside. uh, there is external fragmentation which can happen in segmentation as well. So this is the logical view of simple segmentation. As you can see in the diagram, here you see this is the user space, this is the user program, where let's say we have divided the whole program into four segments, right? Like there's the first segment, this is second one, this one is third segment, and this is fourth segment. Now see how we are going to allocate the physical memory space to them. They are never in contiguous manner. As I have told you, this is non-contiguous in nature. So you can see here, module 1 is stored over here, module number 4 is stored here, 2 is somewhat here, and 3 is somewhat here. So there is no actually a sequence, there is no consecutive sequence in which they are stored. They can be stored wherever the memory is suitable for them and wherever the space is provided for them. So this is how they are stored in the memory. Now, when we talk about the paging, in contrast with the paging scheme, the segmentation is actually visible to the programmer, right? The user cannot see how the paging is done, how it is executed, but segmentation is a very a very transparent part where the user is also able to see it, provided as a convenience to organize logically the programs. So, example, in data in one segment, code in another segment. So the user must be aware of the segment size limit. Now, the OS actually maintains a segment table for each process, just like a page table is maintained in the paging scheme for every process. In an operating system, whenever you are applying segmentation technique, so we need to make a segment table for each segment. So the segment table for each process has few entries. What are these entries? First, the starting physical address of that segment and the length of that segment. Obviously, what is the base address of that segment, and then what should be the size of the segment. So this will always tell you the idea of the whole size of the segment. This is the point. So first of all, let me tell you, as I have told you, how do we translate the logical address into physical address space into segmentation. So as I have told you that every segment is always known by two entities. One is the segment name, and second one is the offset. So the segments created from a user program are actually numbered, and for simplicity, each segment is referred to as segment number instead of the segment name. So now the logical address will have two tuples here, the segment name and the offset. I have told you what offset is, and segment number we already know. So let us now see the implementation of segmentation. Now, as we know, in segmentation, the user program is divided into the number of segments, and a segment is identified by two components, that is, a segment name and a segment offset. Now, we'll see how these two dimensional address is mapped onto the one dimensional physical memory. Like we have page table in paging, similarly we have segment table in segmentation. Now this segment table has two entries for each segment, that is segment base address and segment limit, the size, right? Now, the segment base address basically denotes the starting address where the segment is stored in the memory, while the segment limit denotes actually the complete length of your segment, right? So now let us understand the workflow of the segment table with the help of an example. What will happen here? See, how we do that? CPU will generate a logical address which will consist of two things, the segment number and its offset. Now this will be given to the segment table. The segment table will get the segment number. So for every segment, there is an entry in the segment table where for the segment, we need to have the base address of the segment and the limit, the total size of the segment, right? Now, if the address of the or the limit is in limit of the address, then it is allowed to move and it will be given as the physical memory. And if it is not, so it will be tracked. So when the CPU calls out for a segment and logically provides a two-dimensional address for the segment where the first entry S is the segment number and its offset D. Now the segment number actually would help to find two more details regarding the segment number in the segment table. That is the segment base address and its limit. On the other hand, the offset provided by CPU is verified whether it is between 0 and the limit of called segment. If yes, then the offset is added to the base address of the called segment to retrieve the physical address of the segment. Now, if the offset doesn't verify the condition, the operating system is trapped with addressing error. That is, the logical address tries to attempt beyond the segment limit. Now we are going to see this example. You can see the diagram over the screen. Now consider that a user program has been divided into 5 segments and they are numbered from segment 0 to segment 4. As you can see in this diagram, segment 0 to segment 4. Here you can see segment 0, segment 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we have total 5 segments and we have numbered them from 0 to 4. I have told you this thing. Do remember that the counting in the system is always done from 0. So this is how we are taking. Now, as you can see them in the logical address space, these are 5 segments, right? Now you also have a segment table which has entries for these segments, with their base address in the physical memory and their limit. So here you see these are the indexes of all these segments that we have made 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you seeing this segment table? See this segment table in between, and this segment table has a value like for segment 0 the limit is 1000, that means the capacity is 1000 and the base address is 1400. Similarly for segment 1 the total size required is 400 and the base address is 6300. So likewise all of them have these values, right? Now, these segments are stored in the memory like this. Like, for example, you see segment 0. For segment 0, as I have told you that the base address is 1400. So at 1400, the segment 0 is stored. And the total size of this segment is 1000. So see here where it is getting terminated at 2400. That means 1400 plus 1000, that comes out to be 2400. So this is the limit. So from 1400 till 2400 segment 0 will be stored. Similarly, if you see segment 1, let us see segment 1 here. Now the base address of segment 1 is 6300. We are seeing this is base address of 6300. This is there, right? Now how much total limit or the memory it requires? It is requiring 400. So 63 plus 400, that means it is closing at 6700. So this is how all the segments are stored. Now suppose the CPU calls for segment number 2, right? Just look at segment number 2, which is having limit of 400, and it resides at 4300. Segment number 2 we are talking about, that means in counting it is segment number 3. So it requires 400 bytes memory for the storage, and it is residing at 4300 memory location. Now the CPU wants to refer the 53rd byte of segment 2. Do remember what we are doing is the CPU wants to refer to 53rd byte of this segment 2. So here the input we get from CPU is segment number 2 and 53 as an offset. So offset is 53. Now the offset is between 0 and the limit of the segment is 2, that is 400. So the condition got verified and the offset is being added to the base address of the segment 2 to reach the 53rd byte of the segment 2 in physical memory. So in case you try to access the 453rd byte of the segment 2, then it would result in a trap to the operating system, as offset value 453 is actually greater than the limit of segment 2. This is how we take the memory. So here see the logical addresses in segmentation. See, this is just a comparison part. Here you are seeing the paging scheme. In paging we have divided the pages into 3 equal parts, where it is suffering from internal fragmentation because the process may not have equal size of data to be allocated to every page. So the last page usually suffers from internal fragmentation, where some of the memory gets left out, right? And here you are seeing the segmentation part, wherein in segmentation what is happening, there are unequal sizes of the segments. So internal fragmentation never occurs here. There could be external fragmentation, just because when, let us assume this is the part, this is segment 1. Whenever it will get executed, it will free up the space. So next time when a process wants to get executed, it is not possible that the process is of equal size to this freed up memory. So maybe in that case, this will be not suitable for allocating this space to some other process. So here, external fragmentation can occur, but there is no chance of internal fragmentation. But because we are, taking the segments only, we are taking the complete module to be stored in a particular memory location. So this is what we mean by this. So as we have seen what the logical address used in segmentation, when a process enters the running state, a dedicated register get loaded with the starting address of the process segment table. Now presented with a logical address like segment number and offset, which is called S and D, the CPU indexes the segment table to obtain the starting physical address B and the length 1 of the segment. Now the physical address is obtained by adding B to B in contrast with paging, right? Now the hardware also compares the offset D with the length 1 of the segment to determine if the address is valid or not. Now this is logical to physical address translation in segmentation. How we are doing it? Now it is a 4-bit segment. The segment number is of 4 bits. Here you can see this is the 4-bit segment number, right? And the offset is of 12 bits, right? So in total, the total logical address generated is of 16-bit. This is 16-bit logical address, right? Now this 4-segment number will give you the length, right? There will be a length and there will be a base address of the table. So this is the segment table that we are making. So the base address, together it is added with the offset number. Base address plus offset number will always give you a 16-bit of physical address. Okay. Now, what is the architecture of segmentation? See, as I have told you, the logical address which is generated by the CPU in the segmentation technique, it always consists of a two tuple, the segment number and the offset. Now, segment table is, it is a data structure which maps two-dimensional physical address, and its table has entry like the base, which contains the starting physical address where the segment resides in memory, and there is a limit register which specifies the length of the segment. So here, segment table base register points to the segment table's location in the memory. And just like page table base register, it is the segment table base register. And just like PTLR, it has segment table length register, which indicates the number of segments used by a program. Segment number S is legal if S is less than STLR, which indicates the segment used by the program. Now, this is what the address translation architecture looks like. Here you can see the whole process that we have seen. You can see here CPU is generating logical address with segment number and the offset, which is given to the segment table for entry. The segment number will be there, which will have the limit, like entries will be like segment number 0, what is its limit and what is its base. Similarly, segment number 1, what is its limit and what is its base. This makes a segment table where the limit is always checked. If the limit is less than the offset, then it is okay. It will be allowed to move further, and if it is not okay, it will be considered as as a trap, and it will be halted. It will be picked up by the operating system and it will be removed, right? And if it is in the limit, it will be moved forward, and by adding it with the base address, it will create the physical memory, the actual physical address, right? So it will be stored like that. Now, how the protection occurs in segmentation? So, with each entry in segment table, it associates one validation bit, 0, which shows illegal segment. And there are some read, write, execute privileges which is given. So, protection bits associated with the segments, it gives code sharing occurs at segment level. Now, since segments vary in length, memory allocation is dynamic. Memory allocation is a dynamic storage allocation problem here. Now, how do we do sharing in segmentation system? See, the segments are shared when entries in the segment table of two different processes point to the same physical location. Like for example, the same code of a text editor can be shared by many users, but only one copy is kept in the main memory. But each user would still need to have its own private data segment. Here you can see shared example. So here you have seen this diagram, which is showing how the segments are shared. I have already given you the example of this. Now let us see, after seeing the segmentation process, how does it execute. Let us now understand the differences. So see, students, we have seen the paging part, which is considered to be a memory management technique in which the process address space is broken into blocks of the same size, which we call the pages, right? Now the size of the process is measured in the number of pages. Similarly, main memory is divided into small fixed-size blocks of memory, which are called frames, and the size of the frame is kept same as that of a page to have optimum utilization of the main memory and to avoid any kind of external fragmentation. Now, similarly, main memory is divided into small fixed-size blocks of memory called frames, and the size of a frame is kept the same as that of a page to have optimum utilization of the main memory and to avoid external fragmentation. Now, when we talk about segmentation, segmentation is a memory management technique in which each job is divided into several segments of different sizes, one for each module that contains pieces that perform related functions. Now, each segment is actually a different logical address space of the program. When a process is to be executed, its corresponding segmentation are loaded into non-contiguous memory through every segment. You know, is loaded into a contiguous block of available memory. Now, segmentation memory management works very similar to paging, but here segments are of variable length, where, as in paging, pages are of fixed size. A program segment contains the program's main function, utility function, data structure, and so on. The OS maintains a segment map table for every process and a list of free memory blocks along with the segment numbers, their size, and the corresponding memory locations in the main memory. Now, for each segment, the table stores the starting address of the segment and the length of the segment. So, a reference to a memory location includes a value that identifies a segment and an offset. Now, understand the difference between paging and segmentation. When we talk on the basis of memory size in paging, a process address space is broken into fixed size blocks called pages, whereas in segmentation, a process address space is broken in varying sized block called segments. Similarly, when we talk about the accountability of on the basis of accountability, the operating system divides the memory into pages. And here, when we talk about segmentation, compiler is responsible to calculate the segment size, the virtual addresses, and the actual addresses. Now, on the basis of the size, page size is determined by the available memory. And here, the segment size is determined by the user. There is no control of memory over it, right? Then, on the basis of speed, we can say paging technique is faster in terms of memory accesses, but segmentation is, it is slower in comparison to paging. Then, when we talk about fragmentation, paging, it can cause internal fragmentation. We have already seen this thing as some pages maybe they can go underutilized. Wherein in segmentation, it can cause external fragmentation as some memory block may not be used at all due to their insuitability with the process which needs the space. Then on the basis of logical address, see, during paging, a logical address is divided into page number and page offset. And during segmentation, a logical address is divided into section number and section offset, or the segment number and the segment offset. Now, when we talk about on the basis of table, during paging, you see a logical address is divided into page number and page offset. But during segmentation, a logical address is divided into segment number and segment offset. Now, on the basis of data storage parameter, we can say that page table stores the page data, whereas the segmentation table always stores the segmentation data. So these are few of the examples or the the basis on which we can differentiate the paging scheme and the segmentation scheme of the operating system. So I hope this lecture was clear to you and you have understood the two techniques of non-contiguous memory allocation that we have seen. One is called the paging scheme and one is called the segmentation scheme. We have seen the differences between the two, that how they both are different from each other, how segmentation works and how paging works. We have seen the flaws in them. What are the flaws of this segment table and what are the flaws in this? So you have already seen this thing. Now let us quickly, take the advantages. Segmentation is, more close to the programmer's view of physical memory. Then it prevents internal fragmentation. And third one is that segmentation prevents the CPU overhead as, segment contains entire module at once. The disadvantage of segmentation remains with the external fragmentation that it rises the external fragmentation problem. With this, let us just quickly summarize whatever we have done today. What are the key takeaways of segmentation today? So, segmentation is basically used by memory management, and the concept is very close to the user's view of physical memory. It divides the user program into variable length segments, where the length of the segments depends upon its purpose in the program. Segmentation basically includes a segment table, which is an array of the base address, and limits, where base address denotes the location of a particular segment in the physical memory, and limit denote the segment length. Due to this, segmentation basically leads to external fragmentation. So this is all about segmentation and how it performs or forms the segments of the user program. So we have seen the implementation and working of segmentation along with the examples and how it reduces the overhead of the CPU. So I hope this lecture is very clear to you. Now quickly let me take you to the MCQ part to understand what exactly is MCQ, whatever you have learned here. So here are the questions. Now in segmentation, each address is specified by segment number and offset value, value and segment number, a key and value. The second question says, in paging, the user provides only dash, which is partitioned by the hardware into dash and dash. So what should be the answer? And each entry in a segment table is it having a segment base or the segment heap or the segment value or none of the other? Try to answer all of them quickly. I hope you were able to answer these three questions quickly. Now let me take you to the next set of questions. Question number 4, 5, and 6. Segment base contains the starting logical address of the process, starting physical address of the segment in memory. Is it the segment length or none of the above mentioned? So try to answer them quickly. Now here is question number 5. The segment limit contains the dash, the starting logical address of the process, starting physical address of the segment in the memory, the segment length, or none of the above. Now there is question number 6, which says the offset D of the logical address must be greater than the segment limit, between 0 and segment limit, between 0 and the segment number, and D greater than the segment number. So whatever is suitable, try to answer it. I hope you have done this thing. Now let me take you to the next set of questions. Question number 7, 8, and 9. Now, if the offset is legal, what will happen? It is used as a physical memory address itself, or it is subtracted from the segment base to produce a physical memory address. It is added to the segment base to produce a physical memory address, or none of the above. Similarly, question number 8 says when the entries in the segment tables of two different processes don't point to the same physical location, the segments are invalid, the processes get blocked, segments are shared, or all of the above mentioned. Question number 9 says the protection bits is 0 1 based on write only, read write, or none of the above mentioned. So try to quickly answer. We have seen all these questions, the concepts of related answers here. Now let me take you to the last question. That is question number 10. If there are 32 segments, each of size 1 kilobyte, then the logical address should have, is it 32, 13 bits, it is 14, 15, or 16 bits? So try to answer that quickly. So with this, I hope you have answered all the questions correctly and you were able to answer them. So now with this, I am closing up this lecture today. And in the coming lectures, I'm coming up with the more concepts like demand paging and other crucial concepts of memory management scheme. So stay tuned with me and keep on learning with me with some more important concepts. So I just request you that go through all these concepts of memory management that we have seen. Please go through the numericals that we have seen, and in case of any queries you find, or in case of any problems that you have, please post it in the comment section so that I may be able to answer all these questions correctly with you. I will try to solve your doubts, whatever you have. So till then, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.